Hello guys, a very good morning to all of you. So guys, today we are starting a new topic in the CA Foundation guys, and that is called as final accounts of manufacturing entities. So guys, this is a very small and a sweet concept of the final accounts series, and we'll be completing this topic mostly by today. If not, probably we need one more session, right? So let's go forward guys. It says that manufacturing business entities final accounts is comprises of manufacturing accounts, trading account, profit and loss account, and balance sheet. Before we get into this guys, tell me something. If I want to start a business, guys, if I want to start a business, can I say I will either deal with goods or I'll deal with services? These are the only two things in which I can get into for doing business. Either I can deal with goods or I can deal with services. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? Further, if I talk about goods guys, I can do further two things with the goods. I can plan two more things with goods. One, I can manufacture. If I want to do business related to goods guys, I can get into manufacturing of the goods. Or if I don't want to get into manufacturing, then I can get into trading of goods. I can get into trading of goods. Now, what is manufacturing guys? What is manufacturing? Manufacturing means guys, you put along certain raw materials. You put along certain raw materials in a process, in such a way that after the end of the process or at the end of the process, you will get a new product. You'll get a new product which has got its own identity, it's got its own usage, and it has got its own purpose, right? So that process is called as manufacturing. Let me repeat it one more time, guys. Manufacturing is basically you put along certain raw materials together, you put along and you put it in a process. You do a process of that, and at the end of the process, an unique product will emerge, which will have its own identity, which will have its own purpose, own relevance, and own usage. So the process of converting the raw material into one new product, that process is called as manufacturing, guys. Right? Trading, all of you know what is trading. Trading is basically I buy something with the intention to resell. I do not do any addition. I do not do any process where I get a new product. No. What I buy, that I sell. What I buy, that I sell without changing the identity. That is called as trading. Service, what I'm doing guys, I'm teaching I'm taking classes for you, I'm teaching classes for you, so I'm doing service to you. So guys, are you all clear with the meaning of manufacturing, trading, and services? Tell me yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Now further guys, let's talk about trading and service. Manufacturing accounts is something what you're going to study for the first time now, but trading, guys, trading of goods, for that the final accounts you've already studied in your 11th standard. You studied your 11th standard, you'll be doing in 12th, and you've also been doing that in CA Foundation. Until the previous chapter, guys, we have understood how do we do the trading, how do we prepare the trading and profit and loss account for the non-manufacturing entities. So basically, guys, this part is called as manufacturing entity or accounting for manufacturing entity. And these two together, guys, trading and service together is called as accounting for non-manufacturing entity. I repeat one more time. This is called as accounting for manufacturing entity. And this trading, guys, if you are accounting for trading or services, if you're accounting for trading business or service business, then it is called as accounting for non-manufacturing entity. So guys, accounting for non-manufacturing entity is what you've studied so far from 11th, 12th, and till up to CA Foundation previous chapter. Now here we are going to study from the manufacturer's point of view, or for a manufacturer, what are all the final accounts that you'll prepare, right? So tell me something guys, before I get into manufacturing part, let's talk about trading business and let's talk about the service business. What are the final accounts that you prepare here? Can I say you prepare the trading account? Can I say you prepare profit and loss account? You prepare profit and loss account, and finally balance sheet. These three documents together comprises of the final accounts or financial statement. This is what we've been studying since 11th standard. Right now, What are all the final accounts, guys? What are the financial statements for a manufacturing entity? So the first one will be, guys, manufacturing accounts. Manufacturing account. Second will be trading account. Second will be trading account. Third will be profit and loss account. Profit and loss account. And the fourth one is balance sheet. So if I compare these two, guys, for the manufacturing entity, we prepare an additional account called as manufacturing account. Right? So let me quickly discuss with you. Let me quickly give a recap of what are all the nature of accounts that we try to compile, or we try to record in the trading and profit and loss account. Balance sheet, there's no change, guys. Whatever we discussed, we're sticking on to that. Let's talk about trading account. Trading account of a non-manufacturing entity, This is trading account of a non-manufacturing entity, guys. What do we record? We record opening stock. Opening stock. Opening stock of what? Guys, we are traders. We buy goods with the intention to resell as it is without changing the nature of the product. So that is called as traded goods, guys. So what do we record as opening stock here? The goods which we purchased for trading, which is called as traded goods or trade goods. The goods which is going to be traded, that stock we record. So 2 opening stock we record. Then we record 2 net purchases. Purchase minus purchase return is called as net purchase. So we record net purchase. What do we purchase here, guys? The goods that we trade, that we purchase, that we record here, that we record in the trading account. Next, what do we record, guys? I record 2 direct expenses. Direct expenses. Direct expenses are all those expenses that is incurred in relation to purchase of the goods that you're intending to trade. For example, you can say, when I purchase the goods, guys, I pay for the transportation charges, carriage inward, your carriage inward. Once the transportation is done from the truck or from the lorry, I have to unload the goods to my warehouse. So unloading charges, right? Then what do we record?
Wages.
Wages. We have to be very careful. Wages paid to whom? Wages paid to the warehouse keeper. Sorry, the wages paid to the person who is managing the warehouse, right? So wages is paid to the labor. The labor is doing what work? The labor is actually whatever the goods is being unloaded in the godown, that person is given the responsibility of stacking the goods in the different places. He is the person who will be moving the goods from one place to another. So wages, guys, wages is something which is associated. The wage which I'm paying to that person is something which is associated directly with purchase. He's dealing with the goods that has been purchased. He's organizing the goods in my warehouse that has been purchased with the intention to resell. So wages. In your 11th, you would have studied that wages paid to factory workers also come here. Technically, that is not right. There you did not learn the concept of manufacturing. So they said that everything will come in my trading account. Yes, it will come in trading account, but not as direct expenses directly. It will come in a different way. That different way is what we are going to study today. Undoubtedly, all the manufacturing cost will come to your trading account. In the 11th standard, guys, I told you what is the direct expenses in trading account. I told you that all the expenses that you incur in relation to purchase of goods and manufacturing of goods will come in my trading account. That is true, but it is partially true. Undoubtedly, the manufacturing cost will come in trading account, but not directly. For that, you have to prepare a manufacturing account. From the manufacturing account, you have to calculate the cost of goods produced, cost of production, and that will come here. So that is what we are going to discuss today. So whatever concepts you have learned earlier, guys, there'll be a slight twist, very slight twist, and it'll be a very logical twist, and you'll be learning it today. So here, direct expenses means what? Very exclusively, I'm telling. Direct expenses means all the expenses that is incurred in relation to the purchase of the goods. That alone will be recorded under the head direct expenses. Am I clear or not clear? Second, warehouse rent. You pay the rent for warehouse. Why did you get warehouse? To store the goods that is being purchased. So warehouse rent is also an expense that is incurred in relation to the purchase of goods. So all the expenses in relation to purchase, I'll record here, right? Then what do I record, guys? I record sale. By sale, what goods I record? Sir, the goods what you purchase, no, with the intention to trade, that trade goods will be sold here. Sir, only traded goods will come. How about the goods that is manufactured? That I'll tell differently. When I do the accounting for manufacture, that I'll tell. Now I'm discussing the trading account, which is exclusively for the traded goods. I'll come back to a trading account where we do the manufacturing. That time I'll explain what do we do with the manufactured goods. Now this account is exclusively for the traded goods. So sale of the traded goods, and then what will you record? By closing stock. By closing stock of what? Traded goods. The goods which you are intent to trade. Now with this, guys, I sum up my trading account, and what will you get, guys? At the end of trading account, what is the result of the trading account? Can somebody please tell me? What is the end result of trading account?
Gross profit or gross loss?
Right? You will either get gross profit or you'll either get gross loss. Any one among the two will get. Either you'll get gross profit or you'll get gross loss. This we have done ample times in 11th, 12th and CA foundation so far. Then guys, we prepare the P&L account. We prepare the P&L account. I'm doing the P&L account for the non-manufacturing entities. That is those who are in the business of trading and service. Okay. What will happen here, guys? What will happen here? In my P&L account, what do I record? Sir, we record indirect expenses. All the indirect expenses are recorded here. This is my P&L account. What do we record here, sir? All the indirect expenses we record here. What are the nature of indirect expenses, sir? Sir, all those expenses which are incurred, all the expenses which are incurred in relation to selling the goods, selling the traded goods, all the expenses that is incurred in relation to selling the goods. For selling all the expenses, what I need to do, guys? For selling, I need to do advertisement expenditure, marketing expenditure. I have to appoint a sales staff. I pay a salary to a person who does the selling. Sales staff. All this is an example for selling expenses. So under indirect expenses, guys, we have three categories: selling category, distribution category, and office administration category. These are the three categories of expenses that we record in my P&L account. Under selling expenses, we record advertisement cost, marketing cost, and for example, your salary paid to the salesperson who does the sales. Next, guys, next comes your distribution expenses. Distribution expenses, distribution of the traded goods. Guys, for distribution, what you're supposed to do? You have to arrange for carriage outward, transport outward. You have to arrange for a delivery boy in certain cases. So all the expenses that is incurred in relation to distribution of the goods to the end customer, that is called as distribution expenses. This we capture in the P&L account. Then what? All the expenses that is incurred in relation to administration of the office or administration of the business. For administrating your business, for administrating your office, you need to do certain expenses. You have to pay office rent. Guys, you need to pay office rent. Office rent will come here. For example, if you have showroom rent, if you have showroom, guys, if you have a separate showroom, separate office, the showroom rent will come here. Because showroom is what? For the purpose of selling. So showroom rent will come here. Office rent will come here. Then your EB, electricity bill. EB for office will come here. EB for showroom will come here. EB for showroom will come here. So admin, you pay staff salary for the person who is sitting in the reception of your office. Salary will come here. Salary paid to the receptionist will come to your admin expenses. So like that, there are certain expenses that you do for the management of the business and administration of the business. That is called as indirect expenses. And then what do you record, guys? You record indirect income. You record indirect income. What is indirect income? Indirect income means it is an income which is coming, it is ancillary to the main business. Whatever the business you've started, from the main purpose, what you're getting, the main objective of the business, from that, whatever income you're getting, that will be recorded in my trading account. So indirect income means the income which is coming in addition to your main business, such as commission income, your discount received. All this is something which is coming in my indirect income. So guys, what is the end result of my P&L account? What is the end result of my P&L account?
Sir,
Yes, boss.
So we'll record by gross profit and to gross loss.
Of course, that is there. I'm just meaning that what all do we record? Of course, if there's a gross profit, guys, gross profit will come here, and gross loss will come here. That goes without saying, because it is a chain of accounts. From trading, it goes to P&L. From P&L, it goes to balance sheet. It's a chain of accounts. So definitely the carry forward part will be there, undoubtedly. Am I clear with this? Guys, are you all clear that for a non-manufacturing entity, what are all the various categories of expenses that is being recorded in the trading account and P&L account? Clear or not clear? Tell me, guys, clear or not clear?
Clear, sir.
This is about those entities, guys, which are non-manufacturing in nature. Now we'll understand for the manufacturing entities, what are all the accounts that we maintain? So we know what are the accounts that we maintain, but within those accounts, what do we record is what we are going to see today. Very interesting, guys. So please do pay complete attention. You'll be learning a lot of new stuffs today. So guys, what is the starting point of a manufacturing entity? Can I see the manufacturing account? The manufacturing account. So in the manufacturing account, what do we record, guys? In the manufacturing account, we record to raw material consumption. To raw material consumption, we record. To opening stock of what? Opening stock of WIP. Okay. Then to direct labor. Or let me put it in a very different way. Once again, let me put it in a different way. I'll put 3 categories here so that you remember. The first category is direct material. Under this, what do you record, guys? Under this, you record raw material consumption. What is raw material? What is raw material consumption? How do we derive raw material consumption? Everything we'll discuss today, guys. Don't worry. Then is opening stock of WIP. Then we record direct labor. Direct labor. Then you record. What is direct labor, guys? Direct labor means the salary that is paid to the worker who's directly into manufacturing of the product. I'll come about. I'll just make a mention of all these points, and then I'll come again and give one by one explanation of what direct material, what direct labor, what WIP, everything is all about. Okay. Then we record direct expenses. I'll leave some space here. Then I'll write direct expenses. Then we record indirect material. Direct material, indirect material. Then we have indirect labor. Then we have indirect expenses. What do you record on the credit side? You record closing stock of WIP. You record closing stock of WIP. Then you record sale of scrap. Okay, you record all these things. Now let's understand what is this all about, guys. What is this all about? Tell me, guys, what is the process of manufacturing? Manufacturing says that you will take various kinds of raw material. You take various kinds of raw materials. You will combine them together and put it in a process. In such a way that at the end you will get a product. You'll get a different product which has got its own identity, which has got its own use, own relevance, and own purpose. That is called as finished goods. This is the process of manufacturing, guys. This is the process of manufacturing. You combine certain raw materials together and do certain processes in such a way that at the end you'll get one item which has got its own unique relevance. Now, guys, what is the meaning of raw material? These are those items which are used in the process of manufacturing. For example, guys, if I have to give a classic example, Guys, let's suppose we want to manufacture cakes. We are into the business of manufacturing cakes. Can somebody please tell me what are all the various ingredients for manufacturing cakes? Can I say flour? Guys, this is the classic example what I'm taking, because in lockdown, a lot of people have discovered the self-talent, hidden talent in them, that too in the baking field, right? I've seen a lot of students getting into the baking field, and they've started their own brand, and they have started making cakes, cupcakes, brownies, etc. So I just thought we'll take a relevant example so that we could understand in a much better way, guys. So for baking cake, guys, what do you need? Can I say flour? Flour, not flour, flour. Then guys, can I say you need sugar? Yes. Then what else? You need milkmaid. You need butter. You may ask, sir, how do you know all about this? Did you ever bake cake? Of course, I was also one among them who tried to bake in the lockdown. Yes. So flour, sugar, milkmaid, butter, essence. Different essences there for the different flavors of cake. What else, guys? Your baking
soda.
Of course. Baking powder, baking soda. Yes. Anything else am I missing? Yes. Am I missing anything else? Tell me one thing. Can I say this flour, this sugar, this milkmaid, butter, essence, this baking powder, baking soda? Can I say all these are having their own independent identity? Can I say all of them are having their individual identity? Yes or no? Now, when I mix all of them, guys, it becomes a dough. Yes or no? If I mix all of them, guys. If I mix, let's say all of them together. If I mix all of them together, can I say I'll make a dough? Yes. And then if I put this into a process, of baking, if I bake this, if I put in the process of baking, you will get the end product, which is a cake. Now tell me, guys, you said that this flour, sugar, milkmaid, butter, essence, all this has got individual independent identity before the process. Now, after putting into process, the final result when you get, can I say it is altogether a new product which has got its own identity, purpose, and relevance and usage? Yes or no? Tell me, guys, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Everybody.
Yes, sir.
Guys, more energy means the more enthusiasm for the person who's taking class. So guys, come on, loudly tell me. Okay, not okay?
Okay,
Guys,
sir.
am I making sense? You get the final product, cake, which has got its own independent identity. Now this is called as manufacturing. So in manufacturing, what is required, guys? You need raw materials. These are called as raw materials. Now what is this dough called as, guys? What is this dough called as? Can I say this is a semi-finished product? These are raw materials. Can I call this dough, guys? Can I say this is semi-finished? Can I say this is semi-finished goods? Which we called as, in other words, we called as WIP, which is work in progress. Work in progress. In short form, we call it as WIP. Guys, yes or no? All of you. And this cake is finally called as finished goods. It is called as finished goods. It is called as finished goods. So in the manufacturing, guys, in the manufacturing account, now you have to understand what all do we record. Guys, we'll be capturing the details of raw material. We'll be capturing the details of the semi-finished goods. What about the finished goods, sir? This finished goods will not come to your manufacturing account. But finished goods, what do you do? What do you do with the finished goods? You sell the finished goods. So selling of the finished goods will go to your trading account, guys. So your raw material costing, your semi-finished goods stock, everything will come to your manufacturing account. Whereas your finished goods, which you are selling, will go to your trading account. Right? So guys, let's talk about raw material. What will happen with raw material? Tell me something, guys. This flour, sugar, milkmaid, butter, essence, and whatever you're purchasing, will you consume within that financial year? Whatever you purchase, will you all consume within that financial year? Not possible. Definitely you have some stock left together. So As regarding the raw material, you'll have opening stock. Okay. If you remember, guys, when we did NPO chapter in your 12th standard also, or even in CA Foundation, so that time in the NPO, guys, we record the consumption of the sports material. We recorded the consumption of the stock. So what is the formula that you used? What is the logic that you used? Opening stock plus purchase minus closing stock. Yes or no? Will give me raw material consumption. And used to record this raw material consumption only in the income and expenditure account. The logic what we applied there, the same logic is here, guys. Now opening stock and purchase together is the total expenses that is incurred by the organization or the business. Matching concept says that opening stock and purchase together did not contribute in the complete sales because you still have some stock left. So as per matching concept, we should record only those expenses which is contributed in the final selling of goods. So let's suppose the opening stock of raw materials were 100 rupees and you further purchase, let's suppose 200 rupees worth material. So total material which is there with you guys, it's worth 300. During the year, the total material which is there in your hands is worth 300. But all this 300 did you use in production? Was it contributed to sales? No. Out of that, 50 rupees worth closing stock was still in my godown, was still in my warehouse, which is not contributed to the production or manufacturing or sales. So I need to eliminate this 50 rupees. Thereby, I will record only that part which is being technically consumed by the factory. So guys, 300 worth raw material, 300 rupees worth raw material you had, 50 rupees worth is still pending, which means 250 worth material only have consumed in the process of production. Raw material consumption means not eating. Consumption means using that in the process of production. So guys, can I say 250 rupees worth raw material is being used in the process of consumption? Yes or no? In the process of manufacturing, I've used 250 worth materials, raw materials. Yes or no? Tell me, guys. Yes or no? Right? So raw material consumption, guys, 250 worth material is actually been gone into production. I've purchased raw material worth total 300. In that 50 is still in my godown. 250 worth material has been gone for the production process, which has been consumed for the purpose of manufacturing or the production. So guys, in your trading account, you'll be recording this raw material consumption. So are you all clear what is the meaning of raw material consumption? It is nothing but your opening stock of raw material plus purchase of raw material. When I say purchase, guys, always net purchase. Always remember, whenever I talk about purchase, wherever you see, it is always net purchase. So opening stock of raw material plus net purchase of raw material. What is net purchase? Purchase minus purchase return minus closing stock. This will give me raw material consumption. I will record straight away consumption. You will not record opening stock, purchase, and closing stock. That will happen only with regard to the traded goods in the trading account. For raw material, always we'll record the consumption. Guys, am I clear or not clear?
Yes, sir.
Clear, sir.
Now, next point. Now, whatever raw materials you've purchased during the year, you've put in production, guys. You got this semi-finished product called as dough. Is it necessary, guys? Is it necessary that if I start a manufacturing process, at the end of the year, the goods has to be completely finished? Let's not talk about the case of dough. Let's talk about the case of laptops. Guys, laptops assembling takes a couple of days, probably 1 or 2 days. It takes 1 or 2 days. So let's suppose you started let's suppose today is 31st of March 2021. So today you guys started the process of manufacturing laptops. You could only fit a couple of things, and till night you could only fix a couple of things, which is screen part. The screen is still yet to be attached to the remaining part of the laptop, and by then your year ending is coming, guys. So can I say, as on the year ending, the laptop which you have finished half, it is called as work in progress or semi-finished goods?
Yes, sir.
So there could be a semi-finished goods stock as well. So what will you do, guys? The opening stock of semi-finished goods, will be coming on the debit side as usual, and the closing stock of WIP will come on the credit side. So stock which will be reflected in the manufacturing account will be only of opening stock of WIP and closing stock of WIP. Am I clear or not clear?
Clear, sir.
Now, if you see, I have put this in under the category of direct material. Now, what is direct material? It's very important for us to understand. There are 3 things which is involved in the process of manufacturing, guys. One is material. Second is labor. Third is other expenses. The three categories of expenses that will go into the process of production. To do my process of production, I have to incur three expenses. First one is material, guys. This material is divided into two types. This labor is divided into two types. Other expenses is divided into two types. One is direct material. Direct material. Another is indirect material. Now tell me one thing, guys. When you manufacture cake, all this raw material, which is flour, your sugar, your baking powder, baking soda, everything, is this, can I say this is something without which I cannot even manufacture cake? Tell me, guys, yes or no? These are those raw materials without which I cannot manufacture the product. So what is direct material? Direct material are those primary materials without which I cannot complete the manufacturing process. Are you clear with this or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, what is indirect material? Indirect material is basically once you manufacture the cake, guys, you put that cake or you place the cake on a, let's say, cardboard. Guys, if you see when you order a cake, beneath the cake there is a cardboard, which is a very thick cardboard. Further, if you see, to cover up the cake, there is a corrugated box that has been, there's a box of cake that has been, probably manufactured, or probably that is given along with the cake. So can I say that is indirect material? Why indirect? Because for manufacturing of cake, neither I need that, that thermocol base, nor I need the corrugated box to cover the cake. But without that, my process, the manufacturing process is not completed, which means that corrugated box, that is carton box, and that base plate is an ancillary item to the cake what I manufacture. So those are indirect materials. For example, the plastic what you wrap. Let's suppose if you manufacture laptop, the plastic bag, which you rotate with that. So that plastic material is an indirect material to the finished goods. So guys, are you able to get the difference between direct material, indirect material? Direct material means those material which is directly used in the process of manufacturing, without which I cannot manufacture the goods. Indirect material is something which is in addition to the goods. We apply in addition to the goods. We place it in addition to the goods. That is indirect material. Now coming to labor. Labor is again of two types, guys. Direct labor and indirect labor. Direct labor means I pay wages to those labor who are in the process of manufacturing directly. For example, the chef who's baking the cake, or can I say the number of chefs? Because in the process of cake, guys, there are multiple chefs who will be appointed at different stages, different process. One will be mixing two items, another person will be taking that and mixing another two more items. Then the third person will be making dough, and the fourth person will be making the final baking of the cake. So guys, these four people are directly involved in the process of manufacturing the cake. So the wages or the salary what I pay to them is called as a direct labor. Direct labor. So the word what we use here is wages paid to the person who is directly involved in the process of manufacturing. Then who's indirect labor, sir? Sir, you're manufacturing the cake in the factory, and for the factory, guys, you have a watchman. You have a watchman, security guard. That security guard is a person who's been exclusively put for the factory, to look out for a factory, not for office. Office is somewhere else. You're exclusively put a person to look out for a factory. So that salary what you pay, or that salary what you pay to that what do you call it, security guard, that is called as indirect labor, right? Then expenses, direct expenses, indirect expenses. All other expenses apart from material and labor, yes, apart from material, apart from labor, I'll be doing certain other expenses. All those expenses which I incur directly in relation to the manufacturing, that will be my indirect expenses. And all the expenses which is other than direct expenses, which is used in the factory, that is indirect expenses. Indirect expenses means, don't confuse with your selling, distribution, and administrative expenses. Indirect expenses in P&L, that is different. That will always be there. Now here, when I'm talking about indirect and direct expenses, this is happening within the factory. I'm talking about all these expenses which is happening in the process of manufacturing. These are those. Apart from, there'll be certain expenses for selling, distribution, and administration. That will come in P&L as usual. No change in that. But these three expenses are something which come in my manufacturing account. Guys, these three are the classification of the expenses in my manufacturing account. I'll record these three nature of expenses under my manufacturing category. So that's what we put here. If you see here, direct material, direct labor, direct expenses, indirect material, indirect expenses, indirect labor. Are you clear with this or not? All of you?
Sir,
Yes, boss.
sir, இப்போ லேப்டாப் பண்றதுக்கு நம்ம ஸ்க்ரூ
You have to talk in English.
Sir, in the manufacturing of laptops, we use the screws and other tools for manufacturing.
Correct.
It will come under indirect material.
So screws based directly. Screws, what you attach to it, it is direct. And the tools, what you use? Tools you use is indirect expenses. So screw is direct material, and the tools what you use to fit it, that is called as indirect expenses.
Okay, sir.
Now, guys, the ones which I've marked in blue, that is direct material, direct labor, and your direct expenses. These three put together is called as prime cost. These three put together is called as prime cost. You'll be studying about prime cost in detail when you do a CA intermediate. When you do a CA intermediate, okay? In the costing, there's a separate subject called as costing. In that, you'll be learning in detail. Now, this indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses, this is called as overheads. Overheads. To complete my manufacturing process, guys, to complete my manufacturing process, there are a lot of indirect expenses, indirect labor, indirect material, which will be helping in the process of completing the manufacturing activity. So that is called as overheads. Factory rent, factory rent. So all these things will come under overheads, indirect expenses, factory rent. Yes, am I clear with what I'm saying? So all these are the 3 broad categories and 6 subcategories which will be captured in your manufacturing account. Are you able to follow? Not follow?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if I talk about goods, guys, if I talk about goods, there are 4 classification of goods. If I talk about goods, there are 4 classification of goods. One is raw material, another is semi-finished goods, third is finished goods, and fourth is traded goods. Guys, this raw material, semi-finished goods, and finished goods, this is something which is related to the manufacturing activity. This traded good is a concept that comes exclusively in the trading business or trading activity. Guys, are you all clear with this or not? Is it making sense?
Yes.
sir.
So this raw material, guys, raw material is recorded in my manufacturing accounts. Raw material is recorded in my manufacturing account. How do I record? I record the raw material consumption. I don't record the opening stock separately, purchase separately, closing stock separately. I record opening stock plus purchase minus closing stock. I record the raw material consumption. And with regard to semi-finished goods, this is also going in my manufacturing account. Guys, here you'll record your opening stock separately in debit side and closing stock separately in the credit side. Guys, we don't purchase the semi-finished goods. So there's no question of purchase of semi-finished. Either it is opening stock semi-finished or closing stock semi-finished. Opening stock in debit side of manufacturing account, closing stock in the credit side of manufacturing accounts. And this finished goods, guys, this finished goods is the goods, the cake that is manufactured, guys. It is not necessary that by the end of the year, the entire cake should get sold. There's no necessity that the entire laptop what you manufacture has to be sold by the year end. So you'll have the leftover stock. So this stock will be recorded in my trading account. Trading account. Guys, finished goods will be recorded in my trading account. Right? Opening stock and closing stock. Opening stock will come on debit side. Closing stock will come on credit side in the trading account. Let's talk about traded goods, guys. Traded goods is nothing but the goods which we buy with the intention to resell. So this will come in my trading account because obviously this is related to trading activity. So it will come to your trading account. So what do you record? Opening stock, purchase, and closing stock. Normally, how do we record in 11th standard? Opening stock plus purchases, and on the credit side, closing stock. That will come in my trading account. So am I clear with the classification of these goods? Where it will come in the final accounts?
Yes, sir.
Now let's come back to the format. So guys, when I talk about material, direct material, you'll be recording only 2 things here. One is raw material part, another is WIP. So raw material consumption, as I said you, and WIP opening here, closing here. Then you record your direct labor, guys. Direct labor means the amount that I give to my worker who's directly involved in the process of manufacturing. And then you record your direct expenses, indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. All these you record. And guys, if you look on the credit side, you record one more thing, which is scale of a scrap. Can somebody tell me what is the meaning of a scrap? Can somebody tell me what is the meaning of a scrap? When you manufacture, guys, when you manufacture, there'll be a lot of unnecessary or useless items that will get generated along the manufacturing. For example, if you're manufacturing, let's suppose furniture, guys, how do you manufacture? The raw material for manufacturing furniture is wood logs. You take the wood logs, you put it in the manufacturing process. When you manufacture, there'll be a lot of extra dust and everything that is getting accumulated around that place where the goods is manufactured. That is called a scrap. For example, if you're into, let's say, manufacturing the iron products, so you take iron bars, iron what do you call it, sheets, and you put it into cutting. So every part of the iron sheet is not utilized. Some part of it, it goes as a waste. It goes as a waste. That portion is called as a scrap, and that scrap is useless, guys. That scrap is useless. That fetches very, very minimum value. It fetches very, very minimum value. So that scrap is generated in the process of manufacturing. Therefore, the sale what you do, you will write in the manufacturing account. Guys, the sale of finished goods, the cake what you sell will be recorded in my trading account. Only the sale of scrap. When you manufacture the cake, there will be bits and parts. When you cut the cake in different shape, guys, when you make a cake, you make a square or rectangle cake. If you want to cut it into heart shape, when you make a cut, there's a wastage that is happening. So all that is scrap. So sale of a scrap, if you're selling that too, some people, some big cake manufacturers, guys, the side cut piece of the cake, they sell it to the bakeries, and those bakery people will put that the scrap cakes, or probably the in Hindi we say the chura cakes, into packet, and they sell it. So that will be recorded in my trading account. Now, guys, what will be the end result of manufacturing account? Like for trading account, we get the gross profit, gross loss. For the for the P&L account, we get the net profit and net loss. What are we getting for the manufacturing? Are we getting manufacturing profit or loss? No. The end result of the manufacturing account is, guys, to calculate your cost of production. How will you get your manufacturing profit when you have not recorded the sale of finished goods? When you have not recorded the sale of finished goods, how will you get to know the manufacturing profit? The sale of finished goods, by law, it has to be taken to trading account. As per the rule, it has to be taken to trading account. So what did you write in your manufacturing account? On left-hand side, you've recorded all the expenses. And right side, guys, what did you record? Closing stock and sale of scrap. Sale of scrap is just 0.001% of the manufacturing income. Example, I'm saying. So at the end, guys, what will you get? You'll get cost of production. The end result, guys, the end result of this manufacturing is, what is the cost for the goods, the finished goods that I've produced? What is the cost of that? That is something which I'll derive from the manufacturing accounts. So here you'll get cost of production. The final answer, what you'll get it, guys, from debit, if you minus the credit, you'll get cost of production. Cost of production. This is the final answer you'll get. Am I clear or not clear?
So this sale of scrap is recorded in manufacturing account, no, sir?
Yes, sale of scrap is recorded in manufacturing account. That's what I'm doing. Only sale of scrap will come in your manufacturing account. But the sale of finished good, will go to your trading account. Okay, yes, am I clear with the items that is to be recorded in the manufacturing account? Any difficulties?
No, sir.
Now let's give a quick reading, guys. Let's give a quick reading. It says that the manufacturing entities generally prepare a separate accounts as a part of final accounts, in addition to trading account and P&L account and balance sheet, which means they'll prepare trading account, they'll prepare P&L and balance sheet. But in addition to that, they'll prepare something called as manufacturing account. The objective of preparing the manufacturing account is to determine the manufacturing cost. That is cost of production of the finished goods. For what? For assessing the cost effectiveness of the manufacturing activity. I want to know what is my cost. What is the total cost that is gone into the manufacturing? Once you know the cost, guys, only then you can add profit and make the selling price. No? How do I determine my selling price? For me to create an MRP on the product, I need to know what is my cost involved. With that, I'll add my profit. Only then you'll get to know your selling price and MRP. No? So for deriving your MRP, you need the cost. How do we get the cost? By preparing the manufacturing account. Am I clear or not clear with this?
Clear, sir.
Manufacturing cost of finished goods, manufacturing cost of the finished goods are then transferred from the manufacturing account to trading account. Now, this is the highlight. Now, once you prepare this manufacturing account, guys, whatever the cost of production you're getting, you will transfer this to trading account. You'll transfer this to trading account. Now comes to trading account, guys. Now let's do trading account. Now let's do trading account. This is my trading account. What do I record in my trading account? Guys, opening stock. Opening stock of what? Guys, opening stock of what? Raw material go to my manufacturing account. Your WIP goes to your manufacturing account. Then opening stock of what? Can I say opening stock of finished goods and traded goods will come here? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Everybody. Then guys,
Yes,
then you
sir.
record net purchases. Net purchase of what? Net purchase of what? You can only purchase two things, guys. You can purchase traded goods and raw material. Semi-finished goods you cannot purchase. Finished goods you are manufacturing. Here there are 4 categories of goods which I just taught you. The 4 categories of goods which I've just taught you. In that you can purchase only raw material and the traded goods. Semi-finished goods is a mid process of your manufacturing activity, and finished goods is the final process of your manufacturing activity. So therefore, raw material and traded goods alone I can purchase. Raw material purchase is gone into my manufacturing account. So what is left for my trading account? Traded goods. The goods which I trade, that only will come in my trading account. Am I clear or not clear?
Yes, sir.
Then you record direct expenses. Direct expenses means all those expenses that is incurred in relation to traded goods, right? Only traded goods, which I discussed here, These will come. All this direct expenses are incurred in relation to the traded goods. This will come here. This will come here. And then what will come? Your cost of production. Cost of production. The cost of production which you derived in your manufacturing account, guys, that will come. So this is coming from your manufacturing account. But you never had this in your 11th and 12th standard, guys. But still, if you remember, I always used to tell in the trading account on the debit side, you will record all those expenses in relation to trading of the goods, that is purchase of the goods, and manufacturing of the goods. So these I meant as purchase of the goods, and this I meant as manufacturing of the goods. I could not explain this at that point of time because this manufacturing account was not there in your syllabus. Therefore, I could not give you a detailed explanation. But this is what I meant. Clear or not clear?
Yes, sir.
So opening stock of finished goods and traded goods, net purchase of only traded goods, direct expenses of traded goods, cost of production, right? Then what do you record? You record sale. Sale of what? Sale of traded goods, the goods which you buy and sell as it is without any manufacturing. Then you record sale of finished goods, Then what you'll get? You'll get closing stock. You'll get closing stock of what? You'll get closing stock of traded goods. You'll get closing stock of finished goods. Okay, not okay.
Yes, sir.
Everybody.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then what is the end result you get here, guys? The end result, what you get is gross profit and gross loss. Gross profit and gross loss. Then finally you do P&L, guys. P&L also same thing what I discussed. In the manufacturing entity, guys, the P&L what you create is the same P&L what we create for the non-manufacturing entities. Okay, not okay.
Okay, sir.
And balance sheet is common. Whether you are preparing the balance sheet for a manufacturing entity or a non-manufacturing entity, the balance sheet is always common. So there is no concept in that. So guys, if you're clear with this, I'll go forward. It says that trading account shows gross profit. Trading account shows the gross profit. The result of the trading account is gross profit. While manufacturing account shows the cost of goods which is being manufactured, which includes the direct expenses, direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. All these three together is called as direct expenses. Yes, direct expenses is nothing but direct material plus direct labor plus direct other expenses. These three put together is called as direct expenses in the manufacturing account. Manufacturing account deals with raw material and work in progress only, while trading account deals with the finished goods. That's why the finished goods closing stock is recorded in trading account. In the manufacturing account, I record only the information about raw material and WIP. that is semi-finished goods. Whereas the information about finished goods, that is the final cake, the opening and the closing stock, is recorded in the trading account. A manufacturing account serves the following function. It shows the total cost of the manufacturing of the finished products and sets out the detail with appropriate classification. The constituent element of such cost. For example, guys, in manufacturing account, the purpose is to get the cost, and the cost is presented in such a way in different classification, which is easy for us to understand that how much we have spent for material, how much we have spent for labor, how much we have spent for other expenses, in that how much is direct, in that how much is indirect. In such a classification we present it. Classification here means those 6 heads, guys: direct, indirect, direct, indirect, direct, indirect. Those 6 classifications we presented. It is therefore debited to the cost of materials, manufacturing wages and expenses. So this is your direct material, direct labor, and your direct expenses, which can be direct or indirect. So they're telling that this can be direct or indirect material, this can be direct or indirect labor, or it can be direct expense or indirect expense. Guys, whatever theory we are reading, can I say this is something which you have already been discussing since morning?
Yes,
Tell me,
sir.
guys. Yes, nothing new, right? Okay. It provides details of factory. It provides details of factory cost. All the cost that is incurred for the manufacturing in the factory that has been recorded, and facilitates the reconciliation of the financial book with cost records, and also serves as a basis of comparison of manufacturing operation from year to year. Okay. This is something very easy. Nothing, I'm not much discussing in detail. So this is the formula for consumption, guys. Opening inventory of raw material plus purchase minus closing inventory. And what is my total manufacturing cost? Raw material consumed, direct manufacturing wages, direct manufacturing expenses, direct manufacturing cost. All this is there. Let's do one illustration, guys. Let's do one illustration. It says that 1 lakh units were produced, which means manufactured in a factory. Per unit material cost was 10 rupees. That is, I manufactured 1 lakh units. The per unit cost for the material is 10 rupees. Per unit labor cost is 5 rupees. That apart, it was agreed to pay a royalty of 3 per unit to the Japanese collaborator who supplied the technology. Now, guys, can I say this is a direct material? Can I say this is direct labor? If they have not given themselves the bifurcation, whether it is direct or indirect, obviously it will be direct. No? If a manufacturer, what will be first used? Direct material will be used, or indirect material will be first used? Direct, obviously. So this is direct material, direct labor. What is this royalty all about? Can somebody please tell me? Anybody know what is royalty? Royalty, patent, copyright.
So
All
we are
this stuff.
using the technology, which is the right of which is with the person. We are paying to compensate him.
Correct. So you see patent, royalty, and copyright. All the 3 are interchangeable. I mean, the base concept of understanding is the same, but all 3 are different. Patent come for, let's say, formulation of medicines. The medicine formula. For medicine formula, you patent it. Copyright is for music. Royalty is for books. For example, I'm an author. Okay, I've made a very nice book. Okay, for myself. For public. But I cannot manufacture those books. So what will happen? Publishers will come and approach me. Tell me, Pratik sir, you have written a book which is very excellent. We want to publish those books and sell it to the people. So they will take this book from me, they'll publish it and they'll sell it. But how can they sell it without my permission? Because this is my book. I have to get a income of this, no? So what will happen is, on every book the producer or the publisher sells it, on that per book they'll give me some royalty. For let's suppose my book, the royalty that has been fixed is rupees 100 per book. So let's suppose they are selling 1 lakh copies of book. So 1 lakh copies of book into 100 rupees per book as royalty, they have to give it to me because I am the person who has written the book. So they have to pay royalty for me. So tell me, guys, manufacturer is paying this royalty to me. So for manufacturer, can I say this royalty is a direct expenses? Direct expense, which is incurred in relation to manufacturing of that book. Yes or no? He has to pay this royalty to the author. Manufacturer will pay the royalty to the author, because author is allowed the publisher to publish the books, but it cannot be free of cost. He has to give royalty to me. That is the author. So royalty is my direct expenses. Okay, not okay.
Okay, sir.
Now they're
Okay,
asking.
sir.
So here royalty 3 rupees per unit is paid to whom? Royalty at 3 per unit to the Japanese collaborator who has supplied the technology. So this Japanese person is given some technology. Using that, we are producing some items. So I have to give royalty per unit to the Japanese guy. Okay. So I'm supposed to calculate the manufacturing cost. So all the costs put together. So guys, material cost 10 rupees, direct labor 5 rupees, direct expenses 3 rupees. So can I say my total expense per unit is how much, guys? Can I say it is 18 rupees? So 18 rupees per unit into 1 lakh unit that I've manufactured. So 18 lakh rupees is my cost of production. You can calculate independently also. Raw material 1 lakh units has been manufactured. So for each unit 10 rupees. So total material cost is 10 lakh. Direct wages is 5 rupee per unit. Labor cost is 5 rupee per unit. So 1 lakh unit has been manufactured. So 1 lakh into 5 lakh is a labor cost. And same way, 3 lakh is your direct expenses. So if you add up together, you'll get 18 lakh rupees is your cost of production or manufacturing cost. Any difficulty in this, please? Any difficulty in this, please?
No, sir.
So now guys, let's continue with the next illustration, which is illustration number 2. This is the manufacturing account, what we have discussed, guys, and we'll be doing one question based on this. So illustration number 2, guys. Guys, this illustration number 2, what you're seeing, exact same kind of question, or I can say similar kind of question was asked in November 2019 examination. Right? It was only asked once so far, but yes, this exactly, I think this kind of same question, of course, with different, what do you call it? Numbers and things were asked, but yes, this exact same kind of question was asked for 5 marks in your November 2019 exams, guys. November 2019 exam. So I'm expecting maybe in coming July attempt or in November attempt 21, you should be at least getting. I'm hopeful that you might get, at least one question from this particular chapter, right? So let's do this, guys. It says that Mr. Vimal runs a factory which produces soap. Following details were available in respect of his manufacturing activities for the year ended 31st March 2020. Opening work in progress, guys. Where do I record this? Can I say in manufacturing account?
Yes.
Debit side?
Yes, sir.
Closing work in progress, manufacturing account, credit side. Opening inventory of raw material, closing inventory of raw material, purchase of raw material. Can I say we'll add and subtract all these 3 together to get my raw material consumption to be recorded on the debit side of manufacturing account? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Higher charges for machine. Higher charge of machine. Higher means what? Higher means rent, guys. Higher means rent. Another name for rent is hire. You're paying rental charges for machinery. So the machine what is being used in a factory, it is not your own machinery. You've bought that machinery on rent. And look at the language. It says that the cost of the machinery, the rental cost of the machinery is 60 per unit. That is 60 paise per unit manufactured. So can I say, guys, 0.60 into the units that has been manufactured. If I multiply, I'll get the total cost of rent or total rent of machinery. And the units produced, guys, units produced is given here. Units produced is given here. So can I say 5 lakh units into 60 paise per unit? If I multiply, I'll get my rent charge for machinery. And they've given higher charges. That is rental for factory, guys. Factory. Guys, can I say these are the 2 things which is used in connection to manufacturing? So this will both go to my manufacturing. This will go to my manufacturing account, not to my trading and paint account. Guys, the rental what I'm paying for machinery, the rental I'm paying for factory is for production purpose. It is for the production purpose. So it will definitely go to my machinery account. Sorry, manufacturing account. Then guys, direct wages, direct labor, contracted were 80 paise per unit. So whatever units you're manufacturing, so 80 paise per unit. So 0.80, that is 80 paise into 5 lakh units that is manufactured. And means plus 40 paise per unit of closing WIP. So whatever is the closing WIP. So 0.40 into 12,000. That will give me my direct wages for the semi-finished product. Repair and maintenance, guys. Repair and maintenance. If nothing is mentioned, we are doing this manufacturing account, guys. We are doing manufacturing account, which means the repair and maintenance incurred in relation to machine. So this is my direct expenses, guys. Direct other expenses. This is my direct other expenses, whereas repair and maintenance is indirect other expenses, which is incurred in relation to the machinery. So it is indirectly helping me in the manufacturing process. So this is my indirect manufacturing expense. Units produced is 5 lakh, guys. They've asked us to prepare a manufacturing account of Mr. Vimal for the year ended 31st March 2020. So in the books of Mr. Vimal, manufacturing account for the year ended 31st March 2020. Let's do it, guys. In the books of Vimal, manufacturing account for the year ended 31st March 2020. Particulars, rupees inner column, rupees outer column, particulars, rupees inner column, rupees outer column. Now, guys, opening WIP 16,000 rupees. So to opening WIP, you can write WIP or you can write work in progress, guys. I would suggest better to write work in progress fully, but even if you write WIP, I think it should be fine. 16,000 rupees, 16,000 rupees. Then comes your closing WIP. So by closing WIP, in the outer column, 20,000 rupees. 20,000 rupees. Then comes your opening inventory of raw material, guys. So I need raw material consumption. So to raw material consumption. So there is nothing but opening stock of raw material, add purchase of raw material minus closing stock of raw material. So guys, opening stock is how much? 1,70,000 plus 820. 1,70,000 plus 8,20,000 minus closing inventory, which is 1,90,000 rupees. Guys, am I right?
Yes.
So what are you getting? Please calculate and tell me. 170 plus 820 minus 190.
8 lakhs, sir.
8 lakh rupees. So this is my cost of raw material consumed. So this is done, this is done, this is done. Then they're telling that higher charges of machine. So can I say 2 higher charges? Why is this not moving? Yes, higher charges. Can I say this is a direct expenses? It is a direct expenses, guys. It is a direct material expenses. So sorry, not a material. This is direct expenses. Direct expenses. So 2 higher charges. To higher charges, machine. It is saying that 0.60, that is 60 paise per unit manufactured. So 5 lakh units is manufactured into 0.60. So 6 5 is 30. So can I say 30,000? Sorry, 3 lakh rupees.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is my direct expenses. Higher charges for factory, guys. Is factory direct expense or indirect expenses?
Direct.
Indirect.
Machine is directly, guys. Machine, you directly use it for the purpose of manufacturing. Factory is indirect. Guys, in factory or running the machinery operation. So it is not directly used in the manufacturing process. It is indirectly used. So this is indirect, guys. This is indirect. So to factory rent or factory hire charges, whatever it is, to factory rent, it is 2,20,000 rupees. So this is indirect. So please make a note of it. Guys, factory is indirectly used in the manufacturing process. So this is indirect other expenses or overhead expenses. Then your direct wages, guys, direct wages, they have themselves given the direct wages. To direct wages. Do we need to bifurcate between? No, not required. So we can write directly, guys. It is saying that 80 paise per unit manufactured. So 5 lakh unit is manufactured into 0.80 plus it is saying that 40 paise per unit of closing WIP. My closing WIP is 12,000 units, guys. 12,000 units. So 12,000 units into 0.40. Please add and tell me what is my total direct wages.
Sir,
Yes, boss.
so why we are adding that 12,000 into 0.4?
It says that direct wages is 80 paise per unit manufactured and means plus 40 paise. So basically what this 80 paise is for the is the wages for the goods that has been completely manufactured. But there are some goods which is still not manufactured, no? So for that the labor is spent this time, no? So for that the cost is involved, no? So for those closing stock of goods, 40 paise per unit is my labor charges. So they've given labor for the goods that has been manufactured and the goods which is still lying in the semi-finished condition in my factory. So both put together is my direct wages. Have I answered your query?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Tell me the total, guys. What is the total direct wages?
4,04,800.
4,04,800. Okay. 4,04,800. Is this correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Coming down. So direct wages is done. Closing WIP. Okay, no. So this is the line continuation to it. Okay. Next, repair and maintenance, guys. Indirect expenses. Will it come or not come here? To repair and maintenance. What is the price? 1,80,000 rupees. 1,80,000 rupees. Guys, have we captured all the transactions? Have we captured all the transactions? Now, can you please tell me what is the cost of production, guys? By? Because you're transferring this to trading account, no? Is nothing but cost of production or manufacturing cost.
19,800,000.
Cost of production or manufacturing cost. Sorry, 19 lakh?
800.
19,800,000 like this. Guys, are you all getting the same answer?
Yes, sir.
This question is for 5 marks. Tell me any difficulty in this. This was asked in your November 2019 attempt. Just the number change, guys. Rest all the same. Rest all same. Number only changed. You can see November 2019 paper. 5 marks for this question, guys. Any difficulty in this? Please tell me. My question goes to all of you.
No, sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
Any difficulty in understanding this? No. Right? So let's go forward, guys. Let's go forward. We'll be doing illustration 3. This is a lengthy question, guys. I might at least take 40 minutes to do this. So let's do it. Now, guys, illustration 3. It says that on 31st March 2020, trial balance of Mr. White were as follows. Trial balance is given, okay? So debit side, credit side is given. Stock of raw material, work in progress, all is given. So we'll mark it here, guys. We'll mark it here. Now, stock of raw material, guys. Where will this come? Which account? Manufacture. Okay, let's see the requirement of the question. So they've given the trial balance. They've given the following additional information. Stock as on 31st March. That is the closing stock has been given. Okay. Of raw material, finished goods, semi-finished goods. Then they've given salaries and wages. Salaries and wages unpaid, that is outstanding. That is outstanding for March 20 is 900 and 2000 respectively. Okay. Machinery is to be depreciated by 10% and office furniture by 7.5%, which is 7.5%. Okay. Don't get confused. 71 by 2. No. It is 1 by 2. Guys, you have to be very careful here. When I did my, I don't know if CA Inter or CA Final, I got confused in my, I think Inter. When I did my CA Inter, something similar to this came and I screwed up. I thought 71 by 2 depreciation. No, it is 7 by 2. Right. So then this is provision for doubtful debt. Office premises. Office premises is occupy 1/4 of total area. So there should be some office rent in the question, guys. In that 1/4 is office area. Then remaining 3/4 will be factory area. So I have to split that into 1 by 4 and 3 by 4. Okay. Lighting, that is electricity charges is 2 by 3 for factory, 1 by 3 for office. Okay. Prepare the manufacturing account, trading account, profit and loss account, and balance sheet. Okay, excellent. Let's do it, guys. Now this is given a stock on 1st April 2019. So can I say this is opening stock?
Yes, sir.
Can I say this raw material will be used for the calculation of raw material consumed in the manufacturing account? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
WIP will go as opening stock in the manufacturing account. Finished goods will go where? Opening stock of finished goods will go where?
Trading account.
Trading account. Sundry debtors?
Balance sheet. Balance sheet.
Balance sheet asset side. Carriage on purchase. Carriage on purchase.
Direct expenses.
Wait.
Trading.
Direct expenses, trading or manufacturing?
Trading account.
Trading.
Before you answer, you need to ask yourself whether this is purchase of trading goods or whether this is purchase of raw material. Have anywhere in the question do you read that we are into the trading business? Anywhere in the question did they give you a hint that we are also doing trading? Trading means what? Buying and selling as it is. So for buying the goods to sell as it is, on that if you incur any carriage inward, then it will go to your trading account. So this question, guys, it is completely related to manufacturing. Can I say this is purchase of raw material then? This is purchase of raw material. On that raw material purchase, you are doing carriage inward. So this should go to your manufacturing account. What do you say, guys? Indirect other expenses. Indirect other expenses. Okay, not okay. Guys, am I clear with what I'm saying? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Bills
Sir.
receivable. Yes, boss.
So we are having sundry debtors now, sir. So we sold goods now, sir.
Obviously. So manufacturing goods also you'll sell only, no, kana?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So for the debtors will come, no? That data
Yes.
set is. Bills receivable. Can I say asset? Wages. You have to ask yourself two questions. Am I paying wages for the person who is manufacturing the product in my factory, or am I paying wages to the person who is manufacturing my godown? Is there any information about godown? Is there any information that we are doing the trading of goods? No. So can I say this is a wages that is paid to the factory worker, hence to be gone to my manufacturing account as direct labor? Then salaries, guys, salaries, your P&L account. Salaries, P&L account. Telephone and postage, P&L account. Repair to office furniture, repair to office furniture. Repair to office furniture, what will you do?
P&L account.
P&L account. Cash at bank.
Balance sheet.
Asset side balance sheet. Office furniture, asset side balance sheet. Repair to plant, plant and machinery. Guys, plant and machinery is something which is directly used in the manufacturing process, and for that repair is done. So can I say this is indirect expenses of manufacturing to be gone to manufacturing account? This is something new you're learning. So far, until your 11th, 12th and CA Foundation previous chapters, all the repairs done to plant machinery assets we used to record in P&L account. But now this is a manufacturing entity, guys. This is a manufacturing entity. The repair, the plant and the machinery that has been used is for the production purpose, not for the trading purpose. We use for the trading purpose also the plant and machinery. The plant and machinery here is for the manufacturing purposes. Therefore, this will go to your manufacturing account. It is indirect expenses of the manufacturing account. Indirect other expenses, indirect overhead expenses. Purchases, guys, purchases. I'm not into trading business. So what am I purchasing? I'm purchasing raw material. So this will be used for the purpose of consumption of the raw material in the manufacturing account. Sundry creditors, balance sheet, liability. Bills payable, balance sheet, liability. Sale of scrap, guys. Sale of scrap. Where do you record? Manufacturing, trading, or payment? Manufacturing account. Commission received. Commission received. Are you in the main business of earning commission? No. This is something extra you're earning over and above your business. So can I say this is indirect income to be gone to your P&L account? Everybody.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Provision for doubtful debt. Provision for doubtful debt. What is the nature of provision for doubtful debt? Expense or liability?
Liability.
It is a liability.
Liability.
And if you remember in the question there is a provision that is given. So you have to prepare the provision for doubtful debt accounts. You have to prepare the provision for doubtful debt accounts. In the last test, what you wrote, guys, all of you, you've made a big blunders in the provision concept. So I'll be discussing that all with you. Don't worry. Capital account, capital account, liability side of balance sheet. Sales, guys, sales of the finished goods that you've manufactured will go where? Trading account or manufacturing account?
Trading account.
Bank overdraft.
Liability.
Liability.
Superb. Can we do this? Yes, can we do this question?
Yes, sir.
So in whose books are we preparing? In name is given? Mr. White. So in the books of Mr. White. In the books of Mr. White. You're preparing manufacturing account for the year ended. You cannot write MA, NF in the exam. You have to write full manufacturing, you have to write. So manufacturing account for the year ended. 31/3. What is the year ending, guys? 2020. Particulars, rupees inner column, rupees outer column. Particulars, rupees inner column, rupees outer column. Now, guys, I am looking only for those items which are manufacturing in nature. Okay. So this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay. So guys, raw material. So 2, raw material consumed. Nothing but opening stock of raw material add purchase of raw material minus closing stock of raw material. Guys, you have to write full form in exam. Okay. So opening stock of raw material is 21,000 rupees, guys. In the inner column, 21,000 rupees. Purchase of raw material. Purchase of raw material is here, 85,000 rupees. And closing stock of raw material is given in the additional information. Closing stock of raw material is 16,200. So minus 16,200. Please calculate, tell me the consumption. What is my raw material consumption? What is cost of raw material consumed? 21,000 plus 85,000 minus 16,200. It is 89,800. 89,800. Going further, guys, going further. Coming back to the trial balance. Next is work in progress, opening stock 9,500. So 2 opening stock. WIP. Value is 9,500. Sorry, yeah, 9,500. 9,500. Without forgetting, record the closing stock also simultaneously by closing stock of WIP. Closing stock of WIP is given in the additional information. 7,800. 7,800. Coming down, carriage on purchase, guys. Carriage on purchase, 1,500. So indirect expenses. So 2, carriage on purchase of raw material is how much? 1,500. 1,500. Then coming down, guys, wages 13,000. But with regard to wages, there is something mentioned here in the adjustment, guys. Wages outstanding is 2,000, guys. Wages outstanding is 2,000. So 2, wages 13,000 in the inner column. Add outstanding wages 2,000. So the total wage expenses during the year is 15,000 rupees. Any problem in this? Any problem in this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Next. So wages is done, guys. Put a into mark so that we'll get to know that we have finished this. Okay, next. Cut this also. Then purchase is done. Repair to plant, guys. Repair to plant. So can I say to repair? To repair to plant. It is 1,100. It is 1,100. Then there is sale of scrap. Sale of scrap 2,500. So buy sale of scrap. Sale of scrap will reduce my cost of production. It will reduce my cost of production. That's why I'm recording on the credit side. So buy sale of scrap. Buy sale of scrap. How much? 2,500. Guys, all these two things which are recording on the credit side is for what purpose? For reduction in the cost of production, because these two have not contributed in the selling the goods. So here when I record the cost of production, I'm recording 100% cost of production. I'm recording the cost of the goods which is 100% manufactured, but we don't 100% sell all the goods. Out of this, there's some goods still which is in work in progress. So either the cost, this would have been included here. Since this is not contributed to sales, I cannot take this as a cost. So I need to eliminate from here 7,500. Here 7,800 is included, guys. I need to eliminate it. To eliminate it, either I can minus 7,800 here, or else record this on credit side. That's what we are doing. On credit side, we record it so that we eliminate or reduce the cost of production, because this is not contributed in my sales. Likewise, sale of scrap, guys. Sale of scrap also reduces your cost of production. When you sell scrap, you generate money. That will reduce your cost of production. So whatever is written on the credit side, guys, it is reduction in the cost of production. That is what it means. Then further come down, guys. Further come down. If you see here, this is impacting manufacturing account. This will impact my trading account. This will impact my manufacturing account. Salaries will impact my P&L account. This will impact my manufacturing account. Machinery to be depreciated, guys. Machinery depreciation, can I say it will impact my manufacturing account? And furniture, office furniture will impact my P&L account. Okay. And provision for doubtful debt will impact my P&L account. Office premises, guys. Office premises occupies 1/4 of total area. So we're paying some rent here. Are we paying any rent here? Yes. In the next page, the trial balance is continuing, guys. We are paying some rent here, 6,000 rupees. In that, 1/4 is for office, guys. 1/4 is for office. So can I say remaining 3/4 will be for factory? You're paying a total rent of 6,000 rupees. In that, they're telling that office premises occupies 1/4 of total area. So can I say remaining 3/4 will be factory? So this 1/4 of office area will go to my P&L, and rent of 3/4 will go to my manufacturing. Right? Similarly, lighting to be charged 2/3 for factory, 1/3 for office. So if you see lighting here, guys, 2/3 will go to my factory and 1/3 of this will go to my office. This means manufacturing. This means P&L. Yes, when we record rent, we record totally, no? We don't bifurcate that this is for factory, this is for office, this is for go down. We record totally. So they've told that this rent, what you are doing, the bifurcation they've given. This much of rent is towards factory, this much of rent is towards office. Yes, rent paid for office is for administration of the business. So it should go to my P&L. Whereas the rent paid for the factory, it is a indirect expenditure for the manufacturing activity. It is indirect other overheads. So that has to go to manufacturing activity. Same way for lighting, guys. Electricity. Electricity is spent for office. It is administration of office. 1/3. It will go to my P&L. Remaining 2/3 lighting, which is used in my factory. During the manufacturing, guys, the machines are using the electricity. So for that, in that premises, there is lightning. So for that, 2/3 is incurred for the factory. So 2/3 of 1350 will go to my manufacturing account. So come back, guys. We have to record two things, rather three things. We have to record depreciation. We have to record depreciation, office premises, that is factory rent, and lightning of the factory. So we have to record three things, guys. We have to record three things in the manufacturing account. First is to depreciation. To depreciation of machinery. Machinery is directly used in the process of manufacturing, guys. So we have to treat this as indirect expenses. This is indirect expenses for the manufacturing. So machinery is to be depreciated by 10%. Now, where is machinery here, guys?
So in the next page.
Next page. So plant and machinery 70,000, guys. 10% of 70,000 rupees. You can show the working here. 70,000 into 10 by 100. So 7,000 rupees is your depreciation on manufacturing. Then to rent, bracket factory. So if you see, rent is totally 6,000, guys. 6,000 is total rent. In that, 3/4 is factory. So 6,000 into 3 by 4. How much is it?
4,500.
4,500. Then to lightning. Again factory. What is my lightning expenses? 1,350. 1,350 is total expenditure. In that, 2/3 is for factory. 2/3 is for factory. So into 2 by 3.
900.
900. So we have recorded this also. We have recorded this also. We have recorded this also. General expenses will go to my P&L, guys. Will go to my P&L. Coming down, I've recorded this. I've recorded 3/4. I've recorded 2/3. So guys, can I say I've recorded all the transactions pertaining to the manufacturing account? Yes. Now let's go ahead and balance it, guys. Let's go ahead and balance it. What is the total cost of the debit side, guys? What is the total cost on debit side?
1,29,300.
1,29,300. Are you all getting the same answer, guys? Please do it individually. Do not copy it. 1,29,300. So 1,29,300 is the total cost of production. From that, I'll minus these two items so that my cost of production will reduce. So what is my reduced cost of production?
1,19,000.
1,19,000. So this is nothing but cost of production. So this you are transferring the trading account. We are transferring this to trading account, guys. Now let's prepare the trading account. So below this, we have to prepare the trading account. Below this, we have to prepare the trading account. Trading account for the year ended 31/3/2020. Here it will be particulars, rupees, inner column, rupees, outer column. Particulars, rupees, inner column, rupees, outer column. Right? Now, guys, immediately what I'll do is I'll record to cost of production. To cost of production, which is coming from manufacturing account, which is 1,19,000 rupees. Right? So guys, I'm recording my cost here. I'm recording my cost of production here. Transferred from manufacturing account. Then guys, come back. What do we record in trading account, guys? Opening stock of finished goods has to be recorded, 15,500. So to opening stock, finished goods, 15,500. Without forgetting, record the closing stock as well. So by closing stock of finished goods, guys, you cannot write cl.st.fg in your exam. You have to write full form. Okay. So closing stock is how much? 18,100. 18,100. The goods that you have manufactured, the closing stock of that is 18,100. So cut this also. Okay. If I come further, guys, anything else to be recorded in my trading account? Sales 1,67,200. Buy sales 1,67,200. Correct? Yes. Anything else in my trading account, guys?
No,
That's
sir.
all. Now let's balance, guys. We'll balance it and get as gross profit. To gross profit or gross loss. Please tell me, income is more or expense is more?
Income is more.
Income
much?
is more.
How much?
1,85,300.
That is the total, right?
Total, sir.
1,85,300 is the total. From that, if I minus the expenditure,
Gross profit is 51,300.
I'm
50,800.
afraid that is wrong.
Sir,
50,800.
sir,
Yes, boss.
opening stock 15,500, sir.
Oh, 15,500? Okay, sorry. 15,500. Then how did somebody tell me the gross profit when the calculation, when the figure what you've written, that is wrong? How did you get 5,800 as the right answer?
So I was doing in my notes.
Okay. So guys, we have done with gross profit. This gross profit will be transferred to your P&L account. Will be transferred to your P&L account. So now you have to prepare the profit and loss account. Profit and loss account for the year ended 31st March 2020. Again, particulars, rupees inner column, rupees outer column. Particular, rupees inner column, rupees outer column. So by gross profit 5,800. First we'll write this, then we'll go forward, guys. We'll go forward. So I have to record my salaries in my P&L, guys. Salaries P&L. But for salaries, we have outstanding salary also. So two salaries. How much the total is? Two salaries, 10,000 is my expenditure already recorded. Question says that further outstanding salaries 900 rupees. So add outstanding salary 900. So the total salary expenses during the year is 10,900. Coming back. So guys, salary is done. We have to record the telephone and postage expenses. So two telephone and postage. To telephone and postage, it is 1,000 rupees. 1,000 rupees. There's no adjustment for telephone and postage. Then guys, repair to office furniture. Repair to office furniture. Repair to office furniture. So it is a administrative work. So to repair of office furniture, which is 350 rupees. This is also done. Then comes your commission received. By commission received, which is 450 rupees. 450 rupees is your other income, commission. Right? Then comes your adjustments. Let's see in the adjustment. Done. Guys, office furniture depreciation, 7.5%. So to depreciation, office furniture. What is the office furniture price, guys? 10,000 rupees. 10,000 rupees. So 10,000 into 7.5 by 100. So can I say 7,005? Just 750 rupees, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then, guys, provision for doubtful debt is to be maintained 1%. Now this is where all of you are making a lot of mistakes. Guys, provision for doubtful debt is a provision. Provision means the nature of the account is liability. Okay. So provision for doubtful debt. I've explained this in detail when we did the final accounts. I don't know still why people are making mistakes. I mean, all those people, those who have seen my 11 CBSE classes, they've done it properly, except one or two people. But all those people, those who have not done 11 CBSE properly with me, I've seen a lot of people making the mistakes in provision for doubtful debt account. Now, this is debit and this is credit. So guys, provision for doubtful debt by nature, it is a liability. So by balance carried down. Guys, in the question, there is a provision that has been given, 1650. What is this provision? Can I say this is opening balance? Guys, this trial balance is still not the final trial balance because adjustment is not done. With this trial balance, you do adjustments entry, only then you'll get the closing trial balance properly, right? So this trial balance is your draft trial balance. Adjustment is still not done, which means this 1650 is your opening liability. Opening liability. What is opening liability means? This means last year, you have recorded this 1650 in your P&L as loss. You felt that this 1650 may or may not come. So based on the prudence concept, based on the conservatism concept, you took a stand that this money is not going to come to me. Therefore, let me record it as a provision of doubtful debt, provision as loss, provision for loss. So last year, the entry that you recorded last year in the balance sheet of 31st March 2019, the entry that you recorded is provision for doubtful debt account debit. Sorry. P&L account debit to provision for doubtful debt. This entry you recorded. You recorded the expense directly in the P&L account and you created a liability. Why liability you created? Because I want to reduce my debtors balance, guys. To reduce debtors balance, I need to minus from the debtors by giving credit in the asset. Or I'm creating another account, which is provision for doubtful debt ledger account, which is liability. So that this provision for doubtful debt, guys, will go and sit where? On the liability side. Guys, remember in balance sheet, debtor is, let's suppose 1 lakh rupees. If I want to reduce from this, if I want to reduce 1650, I have two options. Directly in the debtors account, you pass this entry. Automatically, the balance carried on this ledger will become 1 lakh minus 1650. You're getting my point? For example, let's say the closing balance is 1 lakh 1650. Okay. So you want to reduce 1650. There are two ways. One is in the debtors ledger itself, you pass an entry directly. So the closing balance of the debtors will automatically become 1 lakh and this will come. But we don't follow this procedure. Because we learned that provision cannot directly impact the debtors account. Only bad debts can directly impact the debtors account. That's what we studied in 11th standard. The same concept is applied. Therefore, I want to reduce this 1650, but not directly in the debtors account, but externally. So for that, what do we do is we create a provision 1650. And this 1650, guys, provision is a liability which comes on the credit side as provision for doubtful debt. We said that this provision for doubtful debt does not make any sense in the liability side because liability means something which you have to pay in future. I'm not going to pay this anything in future. So lying or making this appear in the liability side is not actually making sense. So we said that we'll take it to the other side. So anything on the liability which is positive balance comes to the asset side. Guys, it becomes minus 1650 as provision for doubtful debt. Are you getting my point? So therefore, your balance of the debtors, which you feel that good debtors is 1 lakh rupees, right? Now, what I'm trying to explain you here is that this 1650 is the provision that is created last year. So last year, you recorded this in your P&L account as loss. Further in the current year, what they're telling is that provision for the doubtful debts is to be maintained. Maintained means what? They want your balance carried down. Maintained means balance carried down should be 1% of sales. What is my sales value, guys? They're telling 1% of sales. Look at the twist here. So far, you've done 1% or 2% of debtors. Here, look at the language. It is saying 1% of 1,67,200. Provision for doubtful debt is maintained at 1% of sales, which means 1,67,200 into 1 by 100. Guys, you have to apply this provision on the sale value. Now, so far we have studied that provision is applied on debtors. Guys, we have to go with the language of the question that is being given. On what amount they want to apply the provision. So basically they wanted this 1672 as the provision to be created. So this was not directly given. It is given in an indirect way. So whether you apply on sales, whether you apply on debtors, all we want to know is that this amount is doubtful. To be very precise, this amount is doubtful to be received. I'm just calculating the value, which is doubtful to be received. Whatever way I can calculate upon debtors, on sales, or it can be anything. Based on what question language given, based on that I'll follow it. So 1672 is the provision that I have to still maintain. Now, what does this mean, guys? In the beginning of the year, you said that 1650 amount is doubtful. And at the end, you're saying that, no, it's not 1650, it is 1672 that is doubtful. So there is an increase of how many rupees? 22 rupees, there is increase in provision. So 162, which is totally doubtful. What does this mean? This means that 1650 is doubtful of the previous year, for which the provision entry in the P&L you have recorded already in the previous year. Remaining 22 rupees. This year you feel that you may or may not get it. So for this 22 rupees, guys, you have to create a doubtful entry in the P&L. So this will go to your P&L account by P&L. This is the additional provision what you're creating in the current year. This is the provision that is created in the previous year. This is the provision that you're creating in the current year. Therefore, at the end of the year, the total amount that is doubtful to be received, is 1672. So this will go to your balance sheet, guys. This will be going to your closing balance sheet finally. And this will go to your P&L. This will go to your P&L. If you're still not clear with what I've discussed now, guys, I'm telling you to please watch my 11 CBSE. There are 2 classes, or rather 3 classes, guys, on provision for doubtful debt and provision for discount and debtors, which I have recorded extensively. I've recorded. We have worked out almost 6 to 7 questions, different questions. So please get that video from me. You will get a crystal clear clarity on the provision for doubtful debts. Now, guys, so 22 rupees is my additional expenses. What will be the entry? P&L account debit. P&L account debit to provision for doubtful debt. Therefore, in my P&L account, to provision for doubtful debt, 22 rupees. To provision for doubtful debt, 22 rupees will be additionally recorded. Am I clear or not clear?
Clear, sir.
Next, office premises, 1/4 is total area. Guys, 3/4 we have recorded in manufacturing account. So 1/4 will be recorded in my P&L account. So 2 office expenses, that is office rent. What is my office rent, guys? Totally 6,000. 1/4 is my office expenditure. So 6,000 into 1/4. How much it is?
1,500.
1,500. And likewise, there is lighting expenses, guys. Lighting is 1/3 office. Lighting is 1/3 office. So 2 lighting charges. What is lighting charges? Total
1350.
1350. So 1350 into 1/3, right? How much it is?
450.
450. So I've recorded this also. I've recorded this also. I've recorded provision also. Guys, everything have you recorded? This is recorded. This is recorded. General expense 1,500. See, so 2 general expenses 1,500. Guys, you have to be very careful, because there is every chances when you're under exam pressure, there is every chances that you may skip something. So have a mechanism where you can have a control as to what is written and what is not written, right? So guys, now have I written everything? Please tell me what is your net profit you're getting. First, tell me the total.
51,250.
51,250 is the total. And from that, please minus all the expenditure and tell me what is the gross profit you're getting.
34,000.
To net profit, not gross profit. To net profit, sorry. Sorry, come again, Kana.
34,778.
This is my balancing figure. What will I do with the net profit? What do we do with the net profit, guys?
Transfer to capital account and balance sheet.
Very good. Can we do the balance sheet, guys, quickly? Balance sheet as on 31/3/2020. If you ask me what would be the total mark of this question, it should be not less than 15 marks. (10 to 15 marks minimum. Liabilities, rupees inner column, rupees outer column. Assets, rupees inner column, rupees outer column. Now, guys, what is left? What is left? Sunny debtors 24,000 is left, guys. Will I write in inner column or outer column?
Inner column.
It is 24,000 rupees, correct? What will you minus from this?
Provision for doubtful debts.
How much will you minus? How much will you minus?
1022, sir.
13. So what is the debtor balance?
1672, sir.
1672, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is the balance, guys? 22.
328, sir.
So send it as done. Bills receivable 15,000, guys. Bills receivable 15,000. Then comes your cash at bank 17,000 rupees. Cash at bank 17,000 rupees. You have to write full form. You cannot write the short form, guys. So please do not even attempt what I'm doing. You have to write always the full form. Always the full form. Office furniture 10,000, guys. Office furniture 10,000. Office furniture 10,000 inner column minus depreciation how much? 10%, right?
No, sir.
What is office? What is it? 7.5, is it?
750 rupees, sir.
Okay,
depreciation.
750. So it will be 9,250. Correct? Then comes your sundry creditors 15,000 rupees. Leave some space. Sundry creditor 15,000 rupees. Bills payable 7,500. Bills payable 7,500. Then comes your capital account 1 lakh, guys. Capital account 1 lakh in the inner column. 1 lakh rupees in the inner column. Add net profit. What is the net profit we got? 34,778. Is it?
Yes, sir.
So 1 lakh 34,778. Capital is done. Overdraft is 8,500. So bank overdraft is 8,500. Okay. So this also is recorded. Come to adjustment, guys, because all the adjustment has to appear in two places. So one, it will be either in manufacturing, trading, or P&L. Another will be definitely in balance sheet. So we have to take care of all the adjustments. So stocks, guys, all the stock has to be recorded. All the closing stock will be recorded here. So record the stock one by one. Beautiful question. This was
Sir?
introduced recently in this book. In the previous book, it was not there. Yes, Pratiksha?
So we have to record plant and machinery also.
Oh, yes. See, we forgot. Plant and machinery, 70,000 rupees. See, plant and machinery, 70,000 rupees. What is the depreciation?
7,000.
7,000, no? Okay. So 63,000 is my plant and machinery value. So this is recorded, done. And this also we already recorded in P&L. Okay. Stock, guys, please tell me one by one. Closing stock raw material. How much? Guys, please keep telling me. What is the closing stock of raw material?
16,200.
16,200. What is the closing stock of WIP?
7,800.
7,800. What is the closing stock of finished goods?
18,100.
Okay. So all my raw material, closing stock, finished goods, everything recorded. Salaries and wages unpaid, guys, outstanding. So outstanding salary means liability. Outstanding salary, how much? 900, and outstanding wages 2,000. So 900 and outstanding wages 2,000. So this is also done. Depreciation also recorded, provision also recorded, this also recorded, this also recorded. Okay. I hope now the balance sheet should tally, guys. Please say me if this is tallying or not tallying. it matching, guys? What is the total you're getting on the asset side? Please calculate using the calculator. Please do calculate, do not copy.
1,68,678.
1,68,678 asset side. And they should tally with the liability side as well.
It's matching, sir.
Right. So guys, we're left with 2 more questions. Both questions are important in the exercise. So I'll be doing that in the next class. Guys, so far comfortable whatever we did?
Yes, sir.
Everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Superb, superb, superb. Great, guys. So I think that's all for today from my side. I'll see you all in the next class. Until then, bye-bye. See you. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.